Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Bay Area Case Studies Virtual College Fair Explore session. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Just a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Now, your camera and microphone are off for this session, so the panelists are not going to be able to see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions that are happening, so be sure to sign up for more sessions at the next time. And then also this presentation is being recorded, and that recording is going to be available within about a week at strivescan.com/BACS. Now, we have a great variety of schools that we'll be presenting to you today that vary in size, location, and other characteristics. And we hope that this session will broaden your horizons during your college search. I want to give you a little bit of a rundown of what schools you're going to be hearing from in this session. So we will have the University of Southern California, Bucknell University, Reed College, Dickinson College, and Syracuse University. And for right now, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our first presenter from the University of Southern California.
Andy. Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are today. My name is Jamie Black. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about USC. You'll also see my colleague Nathan Mack in the chat as well, and we are excited to tell you all about who we are at the University of Southern California. Now, you're going to see some numbers on the screen here just to give a little bit of a USC at a glance. So we have about 20,000 undergraduate students here at USC, but we actually have a really small student to faculty ratio. It's about 8-to-1 with our average class size of being only 26. Now these numbers really show that we do really focus on our students getting that interaction with their professors, being in small classroom sessions, and being able to really communicate and work with that information that you're being taught. Now, these are all just a bunch of numbers on the screen, and you may have heard of USC before, but let's actually talk about who we are and what we have to offer to you. And the first I like to start with is something called interdisciplinary studies. This is really how we focus our students and how they learn. This is really the ideology that you can mix and match your academic passions really whatever you want here at USC. We have an open class policy, which means you're allowed to take courses that are outside of your major, and there's really no limit to how many courses you can take outside of your major. We also do really focus on inherent interdisciplinary studies in nature. So we actually create a lot of our own majors. For example, if you're interested in computer science and business administration, we actually have a whole program called the CSBA program that focuses on our business faculty members as well as our engineering faculty members. We also have something like the Ivy and Young Academy. So for those students that are interested in technology, business, but also the creative side and design, we have a really fantastic program that focuses on that. We also like our students to take advantage of research. Now, research is really fantastic at a school like USC because we are a research-funded university. So we want you to really dive into that information that is outside of the classroom. So you're getting hands-on experience and really testing new ideas and new knowledge. And then next, the global perspective. We do not believe that your learning is really specific and certain to the four walls of your classroom. We want you to go outside of the classroom and to study abroad. We have study abroad programs throughout the world. We want you to be able to do research, take classes, and really look at the world around you with a very specific and academic lens. And also, we are located in Los Angeles, so only about 2 to 3 miles from downtown LA, which is really the hub. Our students really take advantage of the city. Now, you can absolutely go surfing and go snowboarding all in one day, but LA is really known for a cultural hub. So students take advantage of getting different types of food, being able to do research, internship, co-op experiences, all within the city of LA. And then our campus life. Our campus life is really rich. Any day you come to our campus, it will probably look like this picture here, sunny and 75. Our students here take advantage of over 1,000 student organizations on campus, whether it's cultural, political, dance companies, being involved with comedy troupes, sororities, and fraternities, and also being involved with sports as well. So we have a D1 sports here at USC, but if you're not recruited for a D1 sport, you can definitely join a club or intramural sport if you're interested in Quidditch. Quidditch is really big at USC's campus. And finally, the Trojan Family. The Trojan Family is truly lifelong and worldwide. It's not a blood-related family, but an understanding, a community of what it's like to go to a school like USC. These are the folks that are going to help you out and give you advice throughout your time here at USC. So that's just a little bit more about who we are, what we have to offer. So kind of shifting over to the application process. It is good to know that USC has a holistic review of applications, which means we don't solely look at one part of your application to make an admissions decision. We never have a GPA cutoff or minimums or anything of that sort. We truly evaluate and look at all parts of your application to find remarkable students who will add to the legacy of a school like USC. And each admissions counselor is a territory manager. So we are in the Bay and we are, looking at different schools in different areas, but you will have a territory manager that understands the courses you are taking within the context of your school. Whether your school offers AP curriculum, dual enrollment, none of the above, we truly understand what it's like to go to those schools with working with your territory manager. And just some quick notes. I know we're kind of wrapping up on time here. Some important dates for our applicants in the crowd here. We have 2 application deadlines in which you can apply. We don't have early decision or early action. December 1st is our merit-based scholarship deadline. So these are the students who want to be considered for a merit admission-based scholarship, as well as for some students that are interested in our talent-based program. So music, dance, cinema, things of that sort. We also have the January 15th deadline. So this is for all students to apply to USC. But regardless of what date you actually apply to USC, you will absolutely be reviewed in that same holistic manner that was mentioned before. And we truly dive into every single application piece to give you a sense and to give us a sense what it looks like to be a strong Trojan student. Now, I talked very quickly. I know I probably talked way too quickly and didn't go over enough, but if you have any further questions, we are welcome to answer them in the chat. My name is Jamie Black, and I specifically work with students from San Jose, California, but if you're looking for your territory manager based on the high school in which you attend, you can go ahead and use that link below to talk to anyone. And with that, I will hand it over to Bucknell, I believe. Thanks, everyone. Fight on.
All right, thank you to the University of Southern California. And next up, we do have Bucknell University.
Awesome, thank you. Hi, everyone. I don't know if I'm frozen. If someone can confirm, I was just kicked off.
You're not frozen.
Awesome. All right, let me start this. Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Jenny Kim and I work with Bucknell University. I am the regional counselor for California. I'm also a proud alumna of Bucknell University. So after leaving Bucknell, I worked 15 years in other institutions and returned back to Bucknell about 6 years ago because I just love Bucknell and can talk about Bucknell for hours. So Bucknell University is located in central Pennsylvania. We are a nationally ranked university. We have 3 colleges that are housed within Bucknell. We have the College of Arts and Sciences, the College of Engineering, and the Freeman College of Management. The College of Engineering is, the College of Arts and Science is our largest college that houses about 65% of our student population. Our student population is 3,600. I will go into a little bit more, but of the 3,600 students, 65% are within the College of Arts and Sciences. We have more than 50 majors and 70 minors within the College of Arts and Sciences. Our second largest is the College of Engineering, which we have 7 majors within engineering, everything from biomedical to environmental engineering, so on and so forth. We also have a 5-year dual degree that includes a Bachelor of Science in Engineering with a Bachelor of Arts in Business Management as well. So it's a 5-year dual degree. We also have a 5-year master's program with certain engineering programs that if you apply in your third year and you get accepted your 5th year and graduating with your master's will be free. And our smallest college, yet our fastest growing college, is our Freeman College of Management. It is our business college, however we call it management because we want students from the other colleges, whether you're a philosophy student, whether you are a international relations students, we want you to take colleges across the university or take courses across the colleges. So our Freeman College of Management has business analytics, accounting, finance, managing for sustainability. We have minors in real estate and also in management. So there are so many options for you to choose from. So Bucknell, as we shared, is 3,600 undergrad students. At any given time of the year, we only have about 50 to 60 graduate students, which means that all the classes are taught.
All right, I think we're experiencing a couple of technical difficulties here. Gonna give Bucknell a couple of seconds and hope we come back.
So sorry, did that work?
Yep, you're back.
Okay, sorry about that, everyone. So I'm just gonna attempt it one more time. Let's see. Okay, is it working?
It is, yes.
All right, thanks everyone for your patience. So I will go through a little bit more. So I think I got cut off where I said that 0 classes are taught by faculty, which means that you have 100% of the attention of the professors during your time at Bucknell, which is a priority for us. I would say over the years, Bucknell has made a really big effort in decreasing student to faculty ratio at Bucknell. So you'll be able to get to know your professors outside the classes. Most likely you'll be walking their dog, you'll be having meals with them. So if you're looking for a smaller class size, average class size about 20. I sat in a class which was more like a meeting of 5 students when I was a student. Bucknell is a great place to grow, build community, build relationship. The next slide here is just statistics. We are test optional school at Bucknell. We also, we've been test optional for 2 years. We will be test optional for the next 3 years. And surely we are test optional in considering students for merit scholarship as well when you apply to Bucknell. For us, let's see, we are a Division I institution, so we have 27 D1 sports, but most of our students are involved in club and intramural. So we have a very active campus. We have a surrounding town that's beautiful, and our students go hiking, caving, they go kayaking, canoeing. But if they want to go to New York City or Washington, D.C. or Philadelphia over the weekend, it's only a 2 to 4 hour drive over the weekend. So students are very intentional about picking the location at Bucknell. We also encourage students to have a global perspective. So about 45 to 50% of our students do study abroad. At Bucknell, as I was talking about being test optional, we do the holistic review. There are, I would say, at least 3 times your application gets reviewed before a decision is made. So we really take that holistic approach very seriously. We work with 2 deadlines at Bucknell, early decision 1 and then regular decision. Early decision for us is binding, so it's different than early action. It's November 15th and January 15th. I have so much more I would like to share, but given the time, I will put my information in the chat. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And thanks so much, everyone, for your patience.
All right, thank you to Bucknell University. And next up, we have Reed College.
All right. Perfect. Hello, everybody. My name is Grant Sewell. I use he, him pronouns, Senior Assistant Dean at Reed College. So I'm really delighted to talk to you today and share some more information with you about Reed. I hope to be able to supplement that with the image you can see on the screen that hopefully will share some fun facts along the way as well. But, Reed College, we are located in the city of Portland. We're about 5 miles from downtown Portland. So we're in a suburban Southeast Portland neighborhood. And with that, you kind of get the balance of being close to like the city center and kind of being close to the urban core, but kind of having the feel of a suburban kind of campus community. I sometimes like to share, just to kind of give the visual, that there is more trees than people on campus. So there are. We are currently a community of about 1,500 students, and the vast majority of those would be undergraduate students. So potentially, yourselves, who are considering, your academic options towards a bachelor's degree. We have small student to faculty ratios, so it's 10 to 1, and we have really small class sizes. So on average, about 15 students would be in a class with you. And at Reed, we really lean into this idea of small conference, collaborative-based learning classrooms. So, students really get to be engaged in their material, engaged with their faculty. And everyone in the community at Reed utilizes a preferred first name. So we also hope that'll allow you to really kind of build connections, hopefully, with ease with your faculty. And our faculty get to serve as your academic advisors as well. So you really kind of get the chance to get to know them throughout your time as a student. All of our incoming first-year students take a class called Humanities 110. It explores the diversity of the humanistic experience and really allows students to get to lean into the liberal arts. And so by being a liberal arts college, we want to see you take some social science, some humanities, some arts, and really get to be a well-rounded student. During your sophomore year at Reed, students get to declare a major. So we actually don't have you do that during your first year. You kind of get to be a little more exploratory during that time. And then during your sophomore year, in collaboration with your faculty, kind of get to hone in on that pathway. About a third of our students study abroad. So, typically a study abroad option happens either your sophomore or your junior year, kind of depending on your trajectory. And all of our students, regardless of major, get to complete a senior thesis. So, I'd say being a part of the Reed community, likely means you get to be involved in research. There's a variety of different internships and a lot of opportunity for, hands-on experience, which we really hope you'll kind of get, during your time as a student with us. Kind of on the social community side, Reed is a residential community. So we have about 75% of our student body live on campus. And I think one of the reasons we see such, a strong number of students is we only have about 8 or 9% of our student body actually come from our home state of Oregon. So, we have a lot of students that are, coming from multiple states, multiple countries abroad, so there's a lot of kind of representation in the residence halls, and that could be a really nice kind of space for students to kind of build community. We also really foster an idea of inclusion on campus. And what I mean by that specifically is we don't have any exclusive clubs or groups. So we don't have any fraternities, we don't have any sororities. We have a very active club sport scene, and we really try to encourage full community participation. So if there's an activity you want to be involved in, or there's, something that you see, whether it's, being on our campus radio station and hosting your own, campus radio hour, or joining our delicious cheese club, which is as delicious as it sounds if you like cheese, you can, do those types of things. And that's really what we try to do, is to create a space where everyone kind of feels comfortable and feels like they can participate. We're also a community that really values the connection that we have to the larger community, in Portland and kind of in the Northwest, and, more broadly kind of, throughout the country and around the world. So, I'd say a lot of our students that we call Reedies, are really kind of invested in volunteering in the community and really trying to give back. So, we see a lot of that kind of activity when students are, attending at Reed. On the application side, Reed does 3 different rounds of review, from an early decision, early action, and a regular decision. So there's a couple of different options in there for you. We do holistic review. So we want to look at all materials that you can submit to us. So your transcripts, your letters of recommendation, your essays. We really hope to be able to get to know you as a whole person kind of throughout the application process. Reed will be test blind. So we currently are test blind for the 2021 cycle and 2022. So, we realized there potentially was an issue with equity, during the pandemic, and people might not be able to access standardized testing. And for us at Reed, it was never kind of the overarching kind of factor that we looked at when we were making a decision. But just know that you won't have to submit those scores to us if you decide to apply to Reed. On the financial aid side, Reed does need-based financial aid. So we'll look at all materials, that you submit to us, which would be your FAFSA and a CSS profile, to put together a package that would make it possible for you to attend Reed. So, if you're a student that has, maybe a middle financial aid need, a higher need, or a lower need, everyone's package will be customized and unique to them. So, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. I would say, please feel free to utilize the chat box. And if a question comes up beyond today, feel free to email us at admission@reed.edu. But I really appreciate everyone's time, and I believe I'll turn it over to Dickinson next.
Yes, thank you to Reed College. And yeah, we have Dickinson College up next.
Hello, everyone. My name is Phil Moreno. I am the Director of West Coast Recruitment for Dickinson College, based actually down in Southern California. And I just happen to be your regional counselor. I've been attending the Bay Area case studies for many years. First time virtual, just like many of my peers here, but really excited that you're in this session, perhaps maybe looking at different colleges that you wouldn't have explored previously. And that's one of the things that I like to note is that, when you're looking at a college like Dickinson, a liberal arts, nationally selective institution on the East Coast, a couple hours outside of Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., the students that we get from California, 25 to 30 students every year, are exceptional. And I say that because really when you look at data, most students, 80% will go in within 3 hours of home. The reality is that very few students will go far away. So our students at Dickinson who do that are exceptional in that only 2% of students are doing that. So you're probably wondering, why would they choose a small college of 2,100 students that far away from home to be a place where they call home for 4 years? Because certainly 87% of our students graduate within that time. Dickinson is among America's first colleges. In fact, 6 days after the American Revolution, we are founded literally for the idea of engagement. Today, that means that 100% of our students will do some sort of internship or research before they graduate. It is guaranteed. We are like a lot of our other peers, small colleges and peers out here, places like Whitman, Occidental down in Southern California, where we have small student faculty ratios. 75% of our students actually come from outside of the state of Pennsylvania. So they're coming to this area for the first time and have an opportunity to explore. Almost 2/3 of our students are studying abroad sometime during their 2 years, and we'll talk about how Dickinson's global reach has really allowed us to be a pioneer in many ways. And then when it comes to sustainability, Dickinson really has no peer among our select group of colleges that has invested time and time again to achieve goals such as reaching carbon neutrality last year. So when you think of Dickinson at the start of all this and you're trying to differentiate us from the other liberal arts colleges, I want you to think about engagement, global, and sustainable. And then the other thing I want you to be thinking about is the idea that Dickinson is East Coast academics with a West Coast community. And this building for me represents that idea. In fact, this is an iconic building in the life of a Dickinsonian. It is called Old West. Students actually march up those steps, sign into the college at the start of their career at Dickinson, and then 4 years later, sign out, march down the steps beyond the limestone. But what's on top of this building, I think, is indicative of that motto, which is, as a happy accident, rather than a Triton on top of this building, the local blacksmith, who had no idea what a Triton was, instead put a mermaid. And our community, rather than fixing it, maybe rather than being serious and saying it was a mistake, has embraced the idea of an unofficial mascot being the mermaid for 200 years. And so when you look at Dickinson, I think that community is a place that is really that chance to explore. We have more than 120 clubs. We have Division III athletics. We have very competitive opportunities for students to do lots of different things while they're on our campus. And certainly, I think our location, truly being one of those smaller communities just outside of a major city center, means that the 20,000 folks in Carlisle ends up being an extended family for our students. Certainly we get weather. This is a picture of campus during one of our snowstorms, one of the first snows, as we like to call it. But this is definitely one of those places where students from all over the world get to experience weather. And certainly this is a place where, too, you can see that we have lush green. This is actually just outside of Old West. Students get to get a sense of those seasons together in a community where they'll be literally right across the street from the campus. As you think about your experience, know that being in a small town means an opportunity not only to build community within the students that come from all over the world, but within the town of Carlisle as well. In fact, some of our housing, and almost all of our students live on campus all 4 years, will have an opportunity to even live on the main street here because we have some apartments that are campus options as well. So really investing in your community is something at the hallmark of a Dickinson education, and students choose from 46 majors. Know that at Dickinson, 52% of our students are doing interdisciplinary majors, and then another 30% are doing a full-on double major, with the most common being computer science. Next year, we're going to launch our new data analytics major, but at the very heart of all of our curriculum, infused is a global curriculum. We were the first college to offer something other than Latin and Greek. We now offer 13 languages, and in addition to that, Dickinson actually runs and operates 18 of its own study abroad programs, which is why you see so many of our science students taking advantage of study abroad, so many of our student athletes. In fact, one of the things that sets us apart is that we can accommodate students to be able to study abroad more than a semester sometime during their 4 years and still graduate in that 4 years. The last thing that we're kind of, again, invested in is the idea of sustainability. You can see all of the environmental conservation awards we won, but I think the most telling is that our curriculum is so infused with sustainability that for our sustainability requirement, students can actually choose from 100 different courses that come from 40 of our 46 majors. So sustainability, global engagement, that's what we're all about. This is why students are employed. This is why they have many options once they graduate. If you're just beginning your search, then I want to pop into the chat here some additional places that you can get to connect with me more. But that's my time for now. So I'm going to throw it over to Andy so he can present our last presenter.
All right. Thank you to Dickinson College. And next up, we have Syracuse University.
Hi, everyone. Where's my screen? There it is. My name is Peter Hagan, and I am fortunate enough to be Director of Admission at Syracuse University, a private residential research university in the center of New York State. And it is great to be here. It's a lot of college information, but I hope that this Explore session has helped you understand more about some of the terrific places that exist all over the country. And I have just a few minutes to talk about Syracuse. We were founded 151 years ago, 2020, not a great year for a big birthday party. But Syracuse's founders believe firmly in two things: the integration of the liberal arts and professional programs, and the kinds of students who would come to Syracuse. So I want to talk about those things. We're in the center of New York State. There's a map, you can see us. Our students come from all 50 states, over 120 countries, and there are more kids at Syracuse from California than Pennsylvania and Connecticut, which are contiguous states combined. So I mentioned our founders were so interested in the integration of the liberal arts and professional programs. And what that means is at Syracuse, when you come, you don't have to have a major, but you have to have a college. And we have a Central College of Arts and Sciences that's a liberal arts college orbited by a series of professional schools. And more than half of our students are studying more than one thing, have two majors or a major and a minor. And so that is common, that's doable, it's encouraged, you can start that way. But in any case, a smaller college academic experience within the overall framework of a much larger university. And that's sort of what makes us who we are. Outside of the classroom, students take their Syracuse, their academic experiences, and as they do at many great schools, get involved with internships, with research, with study abroad. About half of our students go abroad, and nearly all of Syracuse's students have some sort of professional experience while they're on campus. They also have plenty of fun, and our students, who again come from all over the country and all over the world, belong to over 300 clubs and organizations. There's truly something for everyone at Syracuse. We have a lot of school spirit. We're orange, and I don't think our founders sort of knew the orange thing was going to be such a big deal, but they were, as I mentioned, really concerned about the kinds of people who would come to Syracuse. And so we have always been co-ed. Syracuse is the place at which diversity, I think, and is really a part of our heritage. We have always admitted students from a variety of backgrounds and identities who were perhaps not otherwise included at the time. And so I think 150 years later, you see that reflected in sort of the vibrancy of our student body, students who come to sort of live, work, learn, play on our campus, again, in the center of New York State, or wherever their Syracuse experiences may take them. I want to talk real briefly about the admission and financial aid process. Syracuse, just to begin, is committed to meeting the full demonstrated financial need of every student who is admitted. We also consider every candidate automatically for merit scholarships, and about 20% of the class receives a merit award. Two decision plans: early decision and regular decision. Early decision is for students who want to choose Syracuse and commit to enrolling if admitted, and about a third of our students apply early. Most apply regular decision. And like some of the other schools, we utilize what we call a holistic selection process. Although if anybody has a better word, I'm game, because I have a hard time. Holistic, I just am transported to the grocery store and like shopping in the quinoa aisle. But most important to know about us when you apply is that the college at Syracuse that you apply to, I mentioned earlier, there are 10, is really the lens through which we read your application. We continue to be test optional, and optional really does mean optional. But Syracuse, big though we are, is a place that's deeply interested in getting to know students. And so we offer personal interviews to candidates for admission beginning in July. And I expect that we'll perhaps offer in-person interviews down the road, but we'll start those this summer virtually. I'm the admissions officer for San Francisco and for Marin. And my colleague Jesse Schaffner covers the rest of the Bay Area. And I will drop some of our information in the chat, but that is I'm done with my presentation because I'm always nervous about these 6-minute things, and I was last. So here's some stuff in the chat, and I will turn it back over.
All right, thank you to Syracuse University. And actually, that was our last presenter for this evening, but we still have a little more time, about 14 minutes or so. And so I do want to invite all of our presenters to maybe turn their cameras back on so we can do a little Q&A session here. So I'm going to pull up my screen. And the first question that I'd like to ask our presenters, and we do have a lot of time, so you don't need to rush through this if you don't want to, would be, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? And we'll go ahead and start with USC.
Hi, everyone. Well, first, my advice, because you just sat through 5 presentations, right, is to take a deep breath. Maybe blink your eyes a couple of times because you did stare at the screen for a long time. As an admissions counselor, I would say some advice I'd give if you're starting the admissions process or starting the looking process is to take notes on your phone. It sounds really weird, but you may be going to a lot of information sessions and like, I actually don't know the difference between all of them. I definitely recommend starting like a notes app on your phone and taking notes. And that notes app could be helpful whether you're starting freshman year and 4 years down the line, you're trying to figure out your activity summary and you start actually taking notes, not only on colleges, but what you've done. So you're like, what competition did I do freshman and sophomore year? I totally forgot. Or what club did I join and then I kind of move forward with? Starting a notes app on your phone honestly could be really helpful. Again, not for just taking notes on the colleges you attend or their information sessions, but also taking notes and kind of jotting down things that you'd like to add to your application a couple of years on.
So my advice would be to get to know the college counselors in the schools that you're interested in. We're here to support, guide, help. I think all of us would love it if you would, choose to come to our, choose to join our community. But at the same time, we're in this profession because we really are here to help you through the process. So don't be afraid. You see it all our faces, seeing some of the jokes that we made today. I love when Peter said, he was thinking about stores when he said holistic, and I was like, I went there. And if I was unmuted, you would have heard me crack up. But truly, we are here because we really want to support our students when you're going through the process. So reach out to the counselor. Most of us have, I think all of us mentioned, either we're a territory manager for your area or we have someone else, a colleague of ours in our office. They're there for a purpose. So don't hesitate, reach out with emails, phone calls, and ask questions, because I think the best way to feel comfortable through this process is to familiarize and to kind of take the mysterious piece away from this whole thing. So I would say, reach out to the counselor, ask questions, attend, virtual sessions or whatever it may be, but don't shy away and don't wait till the last minute. I can tell you that, because if everyone emails last minute, then it's good to be a lot. So, start reaching out early to the college counselor at the university that you're interested in.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice that Jamie and Jenny shared. I think there's a lot of value to reaching out, and I think, my advice was going to be, I think, kind of similar to that. I think there's a lot of advice in talking to current students, especially students who maybe went through the college search process, this past year, and who maybe had to adapt, to the virtual format and how that went for them, and especially if you can talk to those current students at like an institution that you're thinking about. I think this session is aptly named, being an explore session, and so I think, kind of having those exploratory conversations to really kind of get to know that institution, and if it kind of aligns with what you're hoping for, would be my piece of advice.
Yeah, excellent advice. I wish I could have done this process again with that. For me, I think, it's contextual based on knowing your schools, knowing the pressure cooker environment that you're sometimes in. And I want to encourage you as a student and you as parents to not compare yourselves to each other, to really think about who it is that you are, parents helping your student know their strengths and weaknesses, and going in this process being confident in presenting that to us. Too often I think we get applications based on what you think we want to hear. And the reality is we want to know about you. And that cannot be tainted by how you think about yourself in relation to others. This is truly your process. Own it and do your best to try not to compare yourselves to the different folks in the room like I do now, and wish I had a holistic joke for admissions because of Peter. It's our human nature to do things that way, but I think it really helps you in this process to really stay grounded, to know what it is that you're going to want, and really ultimately help you choose that college that'll be the best fit.
I'm just so old, I'm running out of jokes, so I keep using the same one over and over. But the best advice I think I could give you for how to approach the college process is to be awesome high school juniors and seniors, and to have a really great summer, because I think we've had a rough go the past year or so, and I think you will be the most successful person you can be in the admission process, but more importantly as a college student, by spending time doing things that you love over these next months, and then when the time and the process dictates it, telling us about it. So we're excited to hear about those things.
Awesome, really good advice there. So I got another question here. I like this one. I think this is a fun question. What's your favorite event or tradition on campus? And we'll go ahead and we'll start with USC again.
Okay, so I'm sure all the colleges have a list of, and make us really think about, we're not back on campus yet, but a list of college of events and traditions. But kind of the first ground lay for future Trojans, that's what we call ourselves, the Trojans, is how we kind of greet each other. So it's the hello, goodbye, good luck with your final. It's the fight on. It's not a peace sign, it's a V for victory, because we are the Trojans. So you'll see people walking throughout campus saying fight on before they go into their first class of the day, whatever they may be. So that's just a really great tradition that you can take all around the world. Anytime you wear a USC hat or a sweatshirt or something that says Go Trojans, you will definitely hear that. But definitely a tradition that's really popular is we actually play our football games right across the street at the Coliseum. That is the Olympic Coliseum. So a lot of our students actually rub a certain statue. It's a little dog, actually. So that is, its name is Bo. And they rub the dog for good luck before we head on to V for victory for our Trojan football game. So anytime you see a Trojan, or if you come to an information session, say fight on to your admissions counselor or any other Trojans you speak to.
So at Bucknell, we have over 107 years of history at Bucknell, so we have a lot of traditions. But one that is close and near and dear to my heart, just because I also am an alumna and I graduated with these traditions as well, is our candle lighting tradition. And it happens in the first few days that you are on campus. It's you and your best friends of 900 plus incoming students all line up in our academic quad with a candle, and you have professors, the president, and it's a way to symbolize a welcoming to our community. And it literally, like, every single person has a candle and you light it. And 4 years later, a few days before graduation, and you walk across stage in that same space, there's another candle lighting service to kind of bring it full circle back to kind of the days of when you entered our community, and to remind students that you will forever be part of our community, but we're also releasing, and kind of sending forth our graduates into the world. And there's something just so special about the friends that you make your freshman year, and they're next to you your senior year, and you're kind of reminiscing and you're like, oh my gosh, it's just real. So there's something really neat about that tradition that we repeat every year. And it's something that 20 plus years later, I'm still talking about it with my best friends from Bucknell. So yeah, just something, heartwarming in terms of tradition.
Yeah, and I would say at Reed, we have quite a few traditions, but the one that comes to mind would be our Thesis Parade. So, I think it's kind of a celebration of like our graduates and the work that they've done. But, essentially like after our students have turned in their thesis document to our office of the registrar, they get golden laurels, what they can put on their head or in their hair, if you have hair. And then, at that point, our graduates actually get to walk through campus, and they're kind of cheered on by members of the community. And then in the center of campus, there's a big bonfire. And in the bonfire, students are throwing in like their draft notes and their outlines and kind of some of the cathartic pieces, that it kind of took to successfully do this rigorous task that we ask our students to do. And then that kind of kicks off the larger celebration of our Renaissance Fair, or Ren Fair, which has a kind of a different fun theme each year. And it's kind of a full community participation event. So I think we're optimistic we'll be kind of back to those more in-person type options very soon. But I would say that's a fun tradition at Reed.
Yeah, I think I mentioned quite a few during the presentation. Being almost 236 years old, we have quite a few ourselves. I think one of my favorite, though, more recently has been the fact that Dickinson has a farm. It's 180 acres. It's about 6 miles away from campus. And one of the fun activities that students can do, we are on campus currently, is this a fun thing that happens once a month where intentionally you can bike to the farm, but also we now have the opportunity to bike to then canoe to the farm, because there is a little estuary that allows students to do that. And once they get there, they make pizzas from the vegetables that are there and other things. They put on productions like the Grapes of Wrath there, but it really serves as this neat opportunity for students to get to know this really lush area of central Pennsylvania.
My favorite Syracuse tradition is the midterm answer key for the intro bio class is thrown. Well, like now it's like a digitized version of this, but in the olden days, it was thrown from the Tower of Lyman Hall, which is the building with the copper turret that's behind me, on one of those little balconies by Marvin Druger, who is the famous biology professor at Syracuse. He's retired, but he's been known to throw answer keys out in the middle of the night in a snowstorm. And I think that's fun. I wish there were a parade, though, to accompany it.
Well, thank you so much to everybody for sharing some of those fun traditions. That definitely brings me back to my college days. We are actually just kind of running out of time here. So I do want to say thank you to all of our presenters for joining us today. Thanks to all of you also for joining us. I know there's maybe one question in the Q&A about what makes your college stand out from everyone else. So I will give our presenters a couple of minutes if they want to try to tackle that question in there. But other than that, when you close this window today, a very quick 4-question survey is going to appear, and we'd really appreciate any feedback that you can provide on this session. Also, this is just one of many sessions that's being hosted. There is one more afterwards, so be sure to sign up for that. And lastly, in about a week, you will be able to find this session's recording as well as all of the other session recordings at strivescan.com/BACS. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us this evening, and have fun at your next session.